Welcome to Talking Down the Highway, Beach Boys podcast presented by Strange Crazy Music. I'm Matt.
Hi, I am Glenn.
Hi, everyone. I'm Glenn also.
Hi, Glenn.
Hi, Tim. Wait, I'm confused. I don't know
Always
what's
with a
going
bit.
on.
Always with a bit. You guys can't take this shit seriously.
Treble up. Treble up.
Yeah. Podcast from your heart.
That's right.
Okay.
Podcast sexier.
Ugh. I mean, we know I never wear pants. So.
That is true. Mm-hmm. Can confirm.
Not for lack of trying.
We have to burn this chair.
Every week, I have to buy a new chair. What have you guys been up to the last week? Tim, did you meet William Shatner again by chance?
Yeah. Well, we're best friends now.
Nice.
He had so much respect for me for not like coming up and fanboying. Mm-hmm. He tracked me down and put me in his will. And
That's good.
Yeah.
Has Leonard Nimoy also answered in kind?
The ghost of Leonard Nimoy.
Sad.
He did. Yeah. He came back from the grave.
Soon. Too soon.
Wow.
So yeah.
Wow.
There you go.
All right.
He wants me to be blasted off into Shatner wants me to be blasted off into space with him when he dies.
Oh,
So it's a big honor.
nice.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't have to be dead. You just have to.
I mean,
on the
I'll
trip?
die. I mean, there's not going to be any oxygen.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Solid.
it's kind of like the Smithers.
Yeah. Where they bury Smithers alive with Burns. Exactly. Yeah. All right.
Anyway, Simpsons podcast,
Yeah. Simpsons, fast food,
Fast food
Seinfeld,
podcast.
Simpsons, baseball.
Oh,
baseball. Yeah.
that'll be a concept album that we'll do later.
A brilliant concept album.
Yeah,
Simpsons,
we'll release it.
Seinfeld, and baseball.
Del Taco.
The Del Taco tapes.
You know, another good thing about Del Taco is
Hey, stop.
they used to be decorated in a manner that I described as sad children's birthday party.
Oh, nice.
But now they're like, I wouldn't say respectable.
Fresh grated cheese.
The fresh grated cheese is
Fresh grated
good.
cheese.
It makes all the difference.
Del Taco is to Matt as Space Age gas station is to me.
That's right. That is a meme in my family, basically. That
I get really excited about Space Age.
every time we see a Space Age, we're like, "Oh, Glenn loves this place." There's
Space gas?
literally one easily within walking distance of your house too, which is
There
great.
it is.
Yeah,
It is.
I'm pretty sure that's why you bought that house.
Yep.
I have no idea why.
I don't either because they
was
surprised
funny.
me. I walked into their house
it's-
once
No,
and
no,
they're
no,
like,
no, it's not. It's not. There's actually a Beach Boys connection to this story. We were the three of us and my wife. We were on our way to go see Brian Wilson.
Okay.
And we had gone to pick Glenn up. We had all
yeah, I
convened
remember that.
at my house. And we went to pick Glenn up out in Canby, where he was living at the time. And we needed to get like cash back or like water or something because we were driving out to fucking, the
Spirit
casino,
Mountain,
2
yeah.
hours or whatever drive. And so we needed snacks or something for the road. And Glenn was super enthusiastic about
Apparently.
going to the Space Age.
apparently.
I don't remember this at all.
I don't
Like,
either. I don't either.
Glenn is legendary in his Glenergy, and for whatever reason, maybe we were all still on the like newer learning curve of getting to know Glenergy,
Wow.
but he was really enthusiastic. Like, if we're gonna stop somewhere, we have got to stop at Space Age, and so it just kind of became this thing that Glenn loves Space Age.
Wow.
They have a deli attached to it, and
Oh, really?
I got a really
Okay.
good sandwich once, and I don't know.
Well, that's nice,
Apparently-
you know.
Once I saw
Apparently,
it once.
also, I make a face when I take selfies, apparently, and I'm like really excited. So I guess that's Glenergy too. I don't know.
Do we have to do a podcast about that Brian Wilson concert?
Ooh.
I don't.
It was sad. We've already done the American Family. That was sad enough.
Yeah, I don't think I have a podcast's worth of stuff to say about it.
I don't
Really.
either. I don't know if I'd describe it as sad. I mean, the venue was
sad.
Yeah.
That's what I meant.
Brian
we
still
remarked at the time that we thought we were going to be sold a timeshare because it was a bunch of like folding
Right.
chairs in a conference
not
room.
even full. Yeah, they were just. It was bad. Yeah, it was dumb, and the lights were on full the whole time. I think it was like a bright room.
But the band was great.
Still had some vocal ability at that point.
Yeah.
I think, and Darren was there, and Blondie was there, and Al was there.
Yep.
Um,
I had a good time.
it was a good performance.
Yeah.
But yeah, venue wise, pretty cheesy.
Yeah. That was my biggest.
And the chairs were way too close together too.
Yeah. It just felt weird seeing friggin' Brian Wilson in a casino. Sad.
Yeah,
He deserves
not even
better.
a proper. They didn't even have a proper auditorium there.
Right.
It was
Right.
literally like a conference room or something, or like they moved the blackjack tables out of the way or something.
Right.
I don't know.
About a year or so after that, Glenn and I saw Brian performing Pet Sounds for its 50th anniversary. We saw that at the Schnitz, which
Yeah,
is
proper.
much more
Yeah,
proper venue
Yes,
to see.
that was wonderful.
It was more befitting of
Yes.
a
The legend. Right.
like Brian Wilson than this fucking sad conference room was.
Yeah.
So,
It was disrespectful, is what it was.
yeah, it was.
Show some
It
respect
was.
to the man.
Yeah, I'll bet they suckered him into a timeshare too while he was
Right.
there. Yeah, fuck those people.
Something.
Yeah. All right. Well, hey. Other than that, anything else?
Like and subscribe.
Yeah, do that. Read Strange Currencies music
Or hate and subscribe.
Or hate and
I mean,
subscribe.
if you listen and you subscribe, doesn't matter if you like it or hate it.
Yeah.
It's all the same to us.
Thumb up.
We know we got a few hate listeners.
Thumb up for love, heart for hate. Wait,
Not for love.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Don't.
That was a bad word on this podcast. Yeah.
I don't like that.
Well, hey. All right. Let's take a break and. Oh yeah.
Hey.
I just remembered what we're talking about.
Hey, don't. Hey, slow down.
No, I'm going to be diplomatic. Actually,
Okay, good.
about this one.
Diplomatic, good.
Yeah. Well, hey, we'll be right back. All right, we are back on, I almost said the Strange Currencies podcast. We're back on Talking Down the Highway, a Beach Boys podcast presented by Strange Currencies Music.
Yeah.
Me and the two Glens, apparently.
Uh-huh.
And they're doing their bits.
Not enough Glenn. Not enough Glenergy
Soon.
these days.
Soon you will be a Glenn as well, man.
We're in
You
that.
could only be so lucky.
We're in that late
absorb you.
school year, right, Glenn? That late school
Yeah.
year malaise.
Yeah.
The Glenergy's low.
It is low. I need a nap, is what I need.
Yeah.
I did have this. I still have a little
yeah.
bit of yerba mate left here. And I've been nursing it.
Didn't chug it? Hey, you were slurping it earlier.
Chug a lug.
Yeah.
I had a chug a lug.
That's right.
I had a Rainier.
Okay.
We haven't done drinking.
We haven't
updates
done
in
drinking.
that was really more of a facet of the old show.
Yeah, that was
Back
Strange
when we had that
Currencies.
fake Freem sponsorship.
Right.
Yeah.
Jerks.
Well,
Well, I don't. Unless you start making margaritas for me when I come here, I'm generally just drinking water. I'm in a margarita mode after San Antonio. So,
Hey,
anyway,
keep it
gotta
going.
have that sort of thing. So
we're
this
talking.
week we're talking about some big ones. How many big ones?
Yeah, I mean at least one. Well, maybe I think there's like maybe three big ones.
I think there's 3 big ones.
Yeah.
I'll give you 3 big ones.
According to this album cover, there's 15 of
What?
them. Yep, 15. I only
way.
see 5
Actually,
on the cover.
you know what? I take it back. There are not 3 big ones. There are 3 like medium ones.
Yeah.
Like maybe Grande is pushing it. I think
So-
maybe 3 tall ones.
We're going to establish right up front false advertising.
Yeah.
false
There are zero
advertising.
big ones.
0 big
on
ones.
this album.
I would concur.
Yeah.
Without jumping the gun and rating it too soon, there are 0 big
big
ones
ones, yeah.
on this album.
Yeah.
And you don't always have to have big ones. Like, does
Right.
Friends have a big one?
No.
Right? But we love Friends.
Right. Yeah.
So you don't need big ones. So
No.
guys, don't promise us big ones if you're not delivering big ones.
Ooh,
well, so it was named because there's 15 songs. And this is the 15-year anniversary for the Beach Boys. So there are 15 big things.
Yeah.
but not songs.
There's just
Not
ones.
ones.
Yeah.
I don't know.
0 big ones. Like Pet Sounds has some big ones.
Yeah.
It's got 13 great songs. I don't know if we'd say they're all big ones.
Yeah.
Even
I don't even know that I would
didn't-
call. I mean, I think God Only Knows is one of the best songs of all times, but I don't know that I'd call it a big one.
It's a big one.
It is a big one, but like I wouldn't call
It's
it
a
a big
big one.
one. I'd call it a masterpiece.
Yeah.
That's pretty big.
Big one.
They're
It's not
promising a lot here with this title.
Yeah.
And we already know this band's got a little bit of an issue with false advertising.
Right.
They rarely actually go to the beach.
They're
At
actually
this point, they are not boys. Like, I'm looking at this album cover, and yes, I know that sounds like a cue for Sound of Vision. We'll get there in a minute. But these are not boys.
Are they even an American family? Aren't they like communists?
Well, like,
Are they Russian?
probably.
I don't know.
And we also know the most egregious example of false advertising in this band is there's literally a guy whose name is Love, who nobody loves.
Nobody loves. No love for Mike Love, right?
All right, we've danced around it though.
Yeah.
It sounds like it's time for an episode of Sound of Vision.
Okay.
All right, Sound of Vision, where we discuss all things aesthetic using the scale provided to us by David Bowie. Glenn, if we really like something, we call it a...
Low.
That's right, David Bowie's masterpiece. Other Glenn, if we really don't like something, we call it a...
15 big ones? Oh, Never Let Me Down.
Never Let Me Down, in which David Bowie definitely lets down. David. David. Come on! Get your shit together, man.
Hey, he's dead, man. Just
Never let me down.
chill out.
And if we're like in the middle with it, this comfortable middle ground, we're at peace with it, we can accept it. Let's dance. David Bowie's okayest album. Actually, I want to divert for just a second. So I don't even remember. It had to have been on Instagram or whatever. I saw one of these, those quasi-inspirational memes and shit, you know. And it was something along the lines of, hey, like, Purple Rain was Prince's 7th album or something like that, and something another example, and Let's Dance was like David Bowie's 15th album. It was like basically one of these things trying to like convince people, stick at it, and you'll eventually reach your peak. And
Let's Dance.
Yeah, that's the peak. I mean, fuck, like Aladdin Sane and Ziggy Stardust and Station to Station.
He
he
finally made it.
Yeah. After all those years, finally achieved a peak.
Struggling away
with
in
Let's Dance.
Obscurity, yeah.
You and your fucking memes, man. Idiots. Anyway, all right.
The cover.
It's
It's the Olympics
it is
logo.
1976 was an Olympic year.
Yeah.
So they're really working on establishing that.
Never let me down. It's awful.
Hey, hold
Never
on.
let
Stop
me
it.
down.
Glenergy, bring it down a
it's,
little bit.
It's
Hold
so
on.
bad.
It obviously is, and we're going to get to that, but we have to pick apart the elements that make it
so
a Never Let Me
bad.
Down.
Designed by Dean Torrance. He did the graphic design here.
All right. Of Jan and
Oh
Dean.
my gosh.
The picture of Brian, I think, is hilarious.
It is.
Stick to surf music.
He looks so happy.
Dean
He
Torrance.
does.
He looks like a little baby with a beard and long hair. And
He
looks-
might be a boy still. Yeah.
he's like either wearing a shirt with like a button-up shirt open with just chest hair, or like actually a bathrobe.
Yeah, I was
in
going to
the
say,
shirt.
I want to believe that it's a robe.
Yeah.
An old bathrober is.
I like that Al is in profile.
Yep, yeah.
Looking away from everyone
Al's
else.
is
He's
like
trying
one
to
of those-
escape the album cover.
Al's is like half of one of those school portraits from the 1980s where
Yeah.
you have like the profile picture and then the straight on one
Al's
together.
profile.
Yeah, it's great.
Did we already mention Dennis's
Dennis's overalls.
Oh, is that
yeah.
out there? They're
Oh,
not
yeah.
suspenders?
No, those are overalls.
Okay.
They gotta be. I can just picture him wearing those clicking drumsticks together.
Yeah.
So happy. Good stuff.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Carl, good Carl.
He's got the weight of the world on his shoulders, it looks like.
good
a
Good
little
hair.
Carl. Well,
light.
yeah, he lifted that piano.
Yeah.
And he's a good boy. He's carrying his
good
family.
boy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love good Carl.
bit. There's some other guy.
He looks like a real 4.5. I'm just gonna say, good Carl is. Good Carl's all right.
Yeah.
I like this guy.
Who's the other dude? It's like that a crazed fan who made his way onto the album cover
Yeah,
somehow.
so like, oh well, the Olympic ring. There's 5 of them.
It doesn't
so
even look like the
let's just
Olympics ring.
Let's
Olympic
throw some
rings
rando
too
in there.
Spread around. It's too spread out.
Well, they probably would have gotten sued or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
The ICC would have been like all over him.
And the text, the font, I don't know if it was created wholesale by Dean Torrance, but he did design this kind of neon looking thing that became their logo.
Yeah. I was wondering if this was the first usage of that.
It is.
It is. And I love how they pay tribute to, not once, but twice, Mike Love's bald head.
Oh, yeah.
Logo,
The
right?
bee and
That's
the
right.
his
Yeah.
bald head.
Wow.
That's what
It's
it
well
is.
done. Clever. Clever. It's like, oh, yeah, I know which band we're talking about. It's the one with the
Bald-headed.
fucking bald guy.
Excellent. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, 3 times, because they got the B in big ones. too.
Right.
Yeah.
So ham-fisted.
Yeah, it's bad.
So bad. It's like they were trying. Like, let's try and make a metaphor. We're 5 individuals together. It's an Olympic year. It's so.
Something like it all comes down to Brian's facial expression for me. Like it's just like such a cheesy, like it's like the Brian's back thing, you know? It's like, hey, right in
This
the middle.
is Brian's back.
Yeah, and this is smack
This
dab in the middle of
is-
that
Yeah,
era
yeah,
because,
yeah.
like, on the back of the album, which you guys need to find a picture there, but on the back, it says 15 big ones and then in big letters, produced by Brian Wilson.
Right.
But, this back cover is awful.
Hold it up.
Well, you can't see the awfulness of it. There's
okay.
so much
I was
text.
gonna say it looked like
For every single song, they say who does exactly what thing, whereas there's so much more of an efficient manner in which they could have done this. But yeah, it's just like all this unnecessary. Ugh. Yeah,
it's never let me down.
Dean Torrance, come on, man.
Stick to writing songs.
Janet Dean, come on, get your shit together. Now on the inside, I don't think I've ever really listened. Look at
It's like
this.
a collage.
Yeah, it's a collage, and a lot of this it looks like it harkens back to their heyday. You got a younger Brian in there, you know.
But I think
he's not
that
wearing a bathrobe.
The collage on the inside feels a little bit more
Oh shit!
70s.
There's a picture of Murray in there.
Oh yeah, there is.
Yeah, I mean, there's some 70s stuff and there's definitely some 60s stuff in there. Ooh, weird. Brian, you can't see him from below the waist, but he's in a bathtub with a child, presumably, hopefully his child, but still,
Oh,
that's
dear.
still
Oh, dear
traumatizing.
Lord. Okay.
Yeah, this is only adding to the Never Let Me Down. I'm not gonna lie, people.
It is.
This is bad.
It is never
This
let me down.
is bad.
I'm trying to log into Discogs to see all this, and it's making me.
Save yourself.
It's giving me
Here,
trouble.
I
It's giving
can,
me
Yeah,
I can
don't-
throw it at you or something. But,
It's brutal.
Never let me down.
Never let me down.
Never let me down. All right, good episode.
Stick,
There's some radio silence there.
stick the heads. I'm just baffled at how awful this
It's
is.
bad. It's bad.
All right. Well,
Certainly, the music is better than
It
the
has to be,
aesthetic.
yeah. And that's fine. They get the bad part out of the way. All right, context. Let's
Yes.
talk a little bit of context for this album. Tim, you're always our context guy. You were the one who reads the Wikipedias beforehand.
Yeah.
So tell us
I
what's going on.
skimmed it. I didn't take any notes.
Did the Carlin biography have any?
I didn't read any of that.
Oh, come on. You were
I
on a
was-
plane.
I was exactly. I didn't want to. I mean, I tried listening to this album on the plane. And I was like, I don't want to ruin this whole trip by listening to this. And I didn't bring the book.
That's not a positive attitude.
I was behind. I did all my cramming last night and this morning.
Oh.
But what I know is that this was a like not a good time for them. Like they
Not a good time.
I don't even remember. They were fighting and stuff. It's funny with all the drama that was going on behind the scenes. I feel like they sound like they're having fun on the album itself.
Oh, far from it. No.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so at this stage of the game, they really haven't. How long has it been since they've actually released an album? At this point, this is 1976
6 is when they're recording it. Yeah,
This album
It's
comes
an
out in
Olympic year.
76.
Come on.
Yeah.
It's an Olympic year, 76. This album does not sound like 1976. This album, there's a bunch of oldies on it. And the reason the oldies are here is because Brian's in a rough place. Brian's like peak depression, like in bed, like we're at the point where they need to enroll him, get him some help. So they find this miracle therapist who offers this, life-changing 24-hour.
Extra, read all about it. Pinball.
Okay, it's
wizard,
not
and miracle
we're not
kid.
doing the Who.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Not yet.
So Eugene Landy comes on the scene, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
It sounds like it's time for an episode of Heroes and Villains.
Oh man.
All right, it's time for Heroes and Villains. We're discussing the heroes and the villains, whatever it is we happen to be talking about this week. And this week we're talking about some
15 big
We don't
ones.
know how many yet. We've already actually said there's no big ones. But yeah, this album called 15 Big Ones. All right, heroes?
I mean, Brian, I guess, for getting himself out of bed.
He's fighting through some shit.
Yeah.
He's actually produced this album in name. It's his name on it.
Yeah.
And they're excited about this because the last couple albums he hasn't been capable of doing it himself.
Right. And the last album of like original material is Holland,
Right.
1973, and that's the same year In Concert comes out.
So they've
been afloat.
they
or
have
whatever.
been kind of
Adrift.
adrift. And so Brian's kind of finally getting to the place where he's stepping up and he can like, okay, I'm going to do this. And it's good because the record label's like, unless Brian's name's on it, we don't want it. And so Brian's coming to save the day and he's going to piece it together.
He writes 5 songs.
Right? 5 songs.
I'm
There's
not
more.
going to say if they're any good yet. But,
Well, there's more in the bucket, in the hamper that, or the hopper, whatever. I don't know. He's written a bunch.
dirty
There's
clothes.
more. There's more Brian
Yeah.
Wilson material
And
out there.
I guess the momentum kind of started because of the Endless Summer like resurgence and their popularity and their profitability finally sort of coming back. And, they're like,
and
okay,
maybe
let's do something
Brian
new.
sees
Yeah.
this is his chance. This is his opportunity.
So Brian's a fucking hero. Let's just
Yeah,
cut to
he's
the
a
chase
hero.
here. He's a hero. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's always a hero.
Right.
Oh, I forgot
This is
we
Brian.
were doing Heroes and Villains.
Yeah, I kind of did too because Glenn just wouldn't shut the fuck up. But yeah, all right. Villains.
Eugene Landy.
Yeah, Eugene Landy is terrible. Human filth.
Yeah.
Trash.
Trash.
Landy comes in and
More like landfill, am I right? Yeah.
apparently
We just said trash right before that.
Okay.
Right, I got it. I saw what you did there. Landy claims like responsibility for some of this, or like he tries to claim some of the like I made this happen,
Right.
And like I guess there's been quotes from him saying that like Brian and I did this album, and him trying to like claim.
Well, all right, fine. Take credit for it.
Yeah, he wants to take credit for
Landy.
it. And like there, if we're playing the drinking game, 15 Big Ones, Brian Wilson has claimed that this is one of his favorite albums.
Yeah, he says this and Love You are like
Are
Well,
his favorite.
hold on.
best
Let's
time.
just-
Yeah.
We'll get there.
Well, sure. But like they
but
essentially. Oh, are we still in Heroes and Villains?
well, yeah,
Yeah.
because Landy, I would argue that Brian says that this is his favorite album, but that's under duress. I would argue that Landy has like pressured him into saying this is good because Landy feels like he has his.
Yeah, I mean, it all depends on
is-
when Brian is saying this, you know, and I don't really know.
Yeah, and we're making this way too complicated. All right,
Right.
Eugene Landy, this guy
He's awful.
is terrible. He abuses Brian. He pumps him full of drugs. He steals his money. He's an objectively awful person. So of course the villain here is Mike Love.
Mike Love.
yeah.
Mike Love.
Because all right, we know who that guy on the front cover was. And take off that fucking hat. And just, this thing smacks of Mike Love.
Yeah.
This album, yes,
It totally
Eugene
does.
Landy, I'm sure his fingerprints are all over it. But this album just smacks of Mike Love.
But it says
He has so
Brian
many-
Wilson. It
It
says
does,
it's a
but-
Brian Wilson album.
Mike looms
Well,
so
but here's-
large over this record. His stupid voice is
Sure.
all over the place on this album.
But here's the thing: if it had been truly up to Brian, this whole album would have been covers.
Okay, no, I disagree with that. I'm going to take exception
No,
here.
he says that specifically.
Well, because here's the thing. We're still talking about context, even if we're in an episode of whatever.
I think we're done.
Are we done with our episode of
Yeah,
Heroes and
yeah,
Villains?
he-
Loves a
Heroes
villain.
Brian. Villains Mike Love.
Mike Love and
with
Eugene
a cameo
Landy.
from Eugene
Yeah.
Landy. But all right, good episode.
But contextually here,
it's not over till we say good episode.
good episode.
Great.
All right.
Brian's in a rough spot. He is hurting. His dad died.
It was like 3 years before.
I understand,
And he
but
hated
that's
it.
the beginning of his alcoholism, his depression. He's chain smoking. He's like
in bed. This is
he's
his
in
in
bed.
bed
That's what I'm
period.
saying.
Yeah.
Like he's in a rough spot, and here we're like, let's try and help him out. And maybe Landy's helpful. Maybe Landy is trying to help him, like by getting him back to work or whatever. Because maybe that's what Brian needs, is he needs to like, snap out of it and go to work. And maybe being in the studio could be therapy for him.
Right.
At one point, this album project was called Group Therapy. It was
Right.
supposed to be called Group Therapy. And the idea was, hey, let's get Brian out. Let's play some oldies. Let's just get
Dust
him in the
Brian
studio.
off and-
Right.
Let's dust him. Let's play some oldies and have some fun. Just have some fun in the studio.
And they
so
did a
that's
lot
what they're
more than
doing.
they're even on here. They did Sea Cruise on Broadway,
Yeah.
Shake, Rattle, and Roll, Peggy Sue.
And that's great. That's a good practice.
Michael wrote The Boat Ashore.
Didn't they even do the Battle Hymn of the Republic?
Oh, that was
Jeez.
earlier, I think. I don't remember.
But-
But yeah.
Was he already doing shortening bread? Or I know he had a long time obsession with it.
I don't remember.
Well, but hey, when you want to get together with the boys and get on get your instruments out, let's play some of the oldies, play some fun stuff that you play whatever, and then go and get the creative juices going. And I think that's what's happens here. But I can just see I don't agree with very many things Matthew says. But I will admit, this album smacks of Mike Love.
It does.
I could see them doing these oldies, and Mike's like, "That's it, let's put it out." Like,
Because it's the formula again.
that's
It's
the formula.
nostalgia,
I mean, it's literally
it's-
not the case, though. Brian says, I wanted to do an album of just oldies and then maybe an album of originals. But Mike fought him on that, and they compromised by doing a half and half.
I mean, I would even argue though that it sounds like
royalties. You get more money.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
have original compositions.
Yeah, that's probably true.
I'll bet you that's probably
part
what
of the
it was.
reason, yeah.
And again,
So you bring people in with the familiar, because rock and roll music was, I think, the single, right?
It was, yeah.
So you bring
One of
people
them.
in with the familiar stuff, but they're buying a product that has originally written material, so you get the royalty.
Hadophonia, yeah.
So I don't know.
and then we drop Hadophonia on them, and then but
I mean,
and-
how could we be so cynical about Mike Love? Oh yeah, wait, everything.
So that's what it feels like. It feels like Mike Love just wants to make some money, and he wants to cash in, and poor Brian's been in bed too ill, and so let's scoop him up and wrap him up and hold him up and put him in the studio and pump something out here.
Oh, hey.
And here's
They
the
get
other
back
thing.
to milking him, literally milking.
They're
him.
milking. And dude, there have been reports of Al Jardine and Mike Love just trashing on Brian through this whole process,
Yeah.
getting in his head and being
Ow.
like,
Al,
This is back when Al was Team Mike.
damn it, Al, come on. Hey, Al. Yeah, that's right. Tell us.
say it ain't so, Al.
Yeah, you gotta.
What were you thinking?
You've got some stuff to answer to, Al. First off, you never call. You never call anymore. And Team Mike, Al, is that why you're looking in the profile? You can't even
On the
face
cover?
us
Right.
on the cover because you are on Team Mike, and you don't even have the ability to look us in the eye, Al, and tell us that you're on Team Mike. Come on, Al.
I don't know, but
Do we have to bump you down even below Bruce Johnston on our list? Al, come on.
seriously,
Remember, we can send that that lobster after you again if we must. I'm just saying.
Wow, I forgot about that Instagram account. That's pretty great.
I wonder what it's been
don't
posting
know.
lately.
But so that's kind of what's happening here. It feels like this is Mike Love is kind of still being a turd, and
He can't help it.
Probably. I think every time we talk about everything, we just like assume all this stuff about Mike Love, which is probably true.
Hey, prove us wrong.
But there's
Mike.
no,
Like,
we got to have
prove us
some
wrong.
kind of context for it. I
He's
will say
over there in the corner, spooning
dog food
into
kibbles and
his
bits.
mouth. It's like flying out of his mouth as he's talking,
Right.
and he's like, "Hey, if we sell a lot of copies of this record and we haven't written any songs on it, we're not going to make very much money. So let's throw a
Right.
few,
But I will say on this topic that the one song that you would think is definitely a Mike Love joint was written by Brian.
Well, hey, we're going to talk some specifics. We
We
got
are,
to take a
we
break,
are.
and we're going to come back and talk about the A side.
I have a little bit more context.
Okay, fine. We're already at 31 minutes, but go ahead.
Geez.
Yeah.
Massive ad campaign for this, right?
Yeah.
Brian's back. Lots of marketing. This was like a really good selling album. It came out like
was,
number
'cause
8.
It is so easy to find in record stores.
Right, yeah.
for like
Obviously,
$3
lots of people bought it.
Yeah.
And the singles were Rock and Roll Music with TM Song on the back, on the flip side. They also released It's Okay
Banger.
with How'd to Phone Ya, and then Susie Cincinnati with Everyone's in Love with You. That's the Al song. That one didn't chart. But Rock and Roll Music hit number 5. And It's Okay. Let's see. That went to number 29. But this shitty cover. Okay, we'll talk about the A side. But this like a lot of success with this like really mediocre shit. 100% marketing. And Brian being back.
Yeah, a lot of it being marketing. I would also.
Well, they were on Reprise now too, right?
I don't know. I guess. Is that, I mean, that was still Brother kind of, right? I mean, this was recorded at Brother Studios.
Yeah. Sorry, I was looking down the Rate Your Music list. I guess Reprise is international distribution.
Okay.
But yeah,
And
it's still
they
Brother.
were at this point they had Brother Studios, which they had built, so they weren't no longer at the house. Brian was really slapdash with this, like the actual production quality. Like there's things about the other guys saying like he just wanted to get in, record it, and say great job, and then leave.
Yeah.
And he wanted to leave it very dry. I guess the other guys came in and kind of did some sweetening on it to make it sound less dry. So there's all this going on. Like it's like what you were saying about maybe Landy kind of pushed him into this. That could be true because like it sounds like he wasn't really super into being there,
Right.
for the process. But
Right.
he did write some songs and contribute. So I don't know. I don't know.
Not an ideal situation is what I'm saying.
Right.
And I think
Is it ever with the Beach Boys?
Well, but here's the other thing. We've been listening in sequence here. We've been following the Beach Boys discography and going chronologically through this. So we know where they've been and we know where,
and we know where you live. Mike.
well,
God.
but like we get to this point.
On the cruise boat.
It's 1976
Free the
and
suffragettes.
we've seen what the Beach Boys are capable of. And then we get to this and it's like we've taken like 20 steps backwards. And it feels like this is I think in a vacuum, if you just grab this album out of context and throw it on, sure, I think it's fine. Like I don't think it's not groundbreaking or anything, but like it's a deep fine listen. But I think the reason we are so critical of it is because we know what they're capable of, and this is what they kind of mail in.
It feels very
It feels very underwhelming,
fast, like
like
rushed,
thrown off,
yeah.
rushed. There's so much
Save that
potential
for the end.
Okay,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
But and I know
We are now almost at 34 minutes.
But
And we
here's
have
the
not
thing.
even started talking about the songs.
Well, we're not going to say much about the song. Here's one.
You're not.
Here's one thing I want to say. Everyone needs to go find this the TV documentary that they released in concurrently with this. It's actually really good, and this is all the context. Not all the context, but very useful context. Is this thing? It's called The Beach Boys. It's Okay.
Okay.
It was aired on NBC. It's 45 minutes long. If you search for it, like Beach Boys It's Okay full movie, you'll find it on. There's a YouTube listing, but you have to click in the description for the link to the actual thing. It's on a different site. And there's interviews with Brian and Van Dyke and others. Brian's literally in bed the whole time. The first thing you see is him, smoking a doob in bed. He gives all his interviews in bed. And then they do show him like playing live with them, but he's just got these facial expressions that he looks very like, meh. It's an interesting document, and there are like funny moments, but it's you got to see it. Basically, look for this and watch it. It's something that we could even maybe do a whole episode on at some point.
Okay.
All right.
Anyway.
You should have sent it to us this week.
It's on Rumble.
Yeah, it's on Rumble.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna look it up. I'm gonna go watch it. I like it.
Yeah.
Let's watch it during the break.
No. So that's our context. We are expecting a lot from them It's 1976. There's a lot of potential. There's a lot to be said. They are potentially America's band. They are. I mean, they have the attention. They have the marketing.
Right.
They have the money behind them. They have the popularity. Endless Summer. Everybody is like, okay, great. What are you going to give us? And this is what they give us: new material. And it's 15.
Yeah, they're big ones. They promised.
All right.
Yeah, let's finally take a break.
Yeah, let's take a break and let's listen to
Come
the
back
A-side.
and talk about these songs.
Fine.
These big ones.
And it's time. Ladies and gentlemen,
Finally.
we are talking down the highway. We are talking the 15 big ones.
Yeah, first big one.
We dropped the needle
Just
and
give me some of that.
rock and roll music.
No, you guys must be like gang vocal. Rock.
Oh God.
It's so bad. This cover's
so
terrible.
there's a bunch of covers on this album. This one is very straightforward. It's not even like an adaptation interpretation. It's like just straight up the same song, and it's not good.
It's awful.
It's just bland.
And it has
What's the
potential
point?
only because Brian's like fucking around with the synthesizer. It's like, okay, this
yeah.
might be cool and weird, but it's bad.
It's worthless.
It
Mike
even-
Love sings.
I hate it.
Yeah, I even hear Mike Love in this. Like, it's almost like there's that verse where he's like, as long as it's not too fast, sound ends up sounding like a crappy symphony. Is like is that him like making a dig at?
No, I mean that's the Chuck Berry song.
I know,
That's the way
but
he
that's what I'm
writes it,
saying.
but-
That's what I'm saying. It feels like it's Mike Love.
Oh, maybe, yeah.
Kind of like
Pet Sounds sure sucked.
Pet Sounds sucked and all that. Trying to let's just play some good old rock and roll music and
Which it's not. This is it's awful.
Right.
In the catalog crawl write-up, I described it as Dead on Arrival opener because it just like opens up the album with just this
Right.
thud.
It makes you not want to go any further and
Yeah.
listen to any of the
And
rest
again,
of it.
it's 1976. Why are we playing
Right.
a Chuck Berry song for like?
Because they just became relevant again by rehashing all of their old material. So, hey, how do you keep selling records? Put out this
Old bullshit.
this oldies.
Yeah.
Because here you've got the people who would have been teenagers in the late 50s and early 60s who would have been, reared on Chuck Berry and the Beach Boys, who are now functional adults and
Yeah.
they've got disposable income.
Yeah.
And they're out there, what are they going to want in a record? This kind of lame bullshit. Because you said like this
Oh.
went to number 5 or something,
Yeah.
like this single.
Oh, but here,
And
this
it's terrible.
it is, and this is actually partially Mike Love's fault. This one specifically, because apparently
Everything is.
he said, "Well, we had such success, basically covering a Chuck Berry song before, but making it what was it, Surfing USA?
Yeah.
So let's just
And
do
fun.
So let's just do a straight up Chuck Berry song. Like it's completely flawed logic, but apparently that was his idea because, we've had good luck with Chuck Berry stuff
Worked
before.
15 years ago. It should still work now.
Yeah, and especially considering the royalty thing, you'd think he would want to just like rip off Chuck Berry again, so they would get songwriting royalties. But anyway, bad.
Sad thing is,
That's
is
a
it
small
worked.
one.
Sad thing is,
It did.
is it worked.
It worked.
And
It worked.
It sold a lot.
So that's a small one.
It's bad. It's bad.
Second big one, or second one?
Second one is a medium one.
Yeah.
Except it's been devolved because of the Dauber voice. The Dauber voice.
Yeah.
I gotta say, I kind of like Dauber voice every once in a while.
It had potential, but then
So the
that
thing is,
Dauber voice
is
came in.
Dauber voice, is that Mike?
It's got to be Mike.
It's
yeah.
gotta
Like
be.
he was the bass singer,
Yeah,
but the
yeah.
way in which like his lead vocal's still going, I mean, I'm sure
Oh,
they're
that's
overdubbing
true.
perhaps.
Yeah.
I just always want to believe that Dennis is doing the Dauber
Maybe.
voice.
That could be.
It's the highlight. It's the best song on the album.
No.
And it's a pretty fucking low bar. Okay, I guess It's tied. This is the one that that Remy and I chose for the catalog crawl playlist.
Really?
Yeah. I described it as a
like-
decent enough original.
Right.
Some nice harmonies, despite its wholly transparent attempt to kick up the nostalgia associated with the band's.
I like when Dennis comes in at the end.
Say
No, he's saying "Find a Ride" or whatever he's saying.
Yeah.
I like that. It's a little cheesy off the bat.
Nope.
But I don't mind it. I think it's good. I think it's
I like
catchy. It doesn't sound good, like we talked about it. Kind of everything seeming rushed, and the production is kind of a little weird. But I think in a vacuum, like you were saying, it's like, hey, okay, whatever. This is a song. It's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got no real problem with this one at all.
I would have been fine with this if this came out on Surf and Safari.
What?
If this song, It's Okay, came out back in...
Well, those synths and stuff would have been rather anachronistic, but
Yeah, but again, that's what I'm saying. That's my point, is that this is... It's an old song. It feels like an oldie.
I don't know.
that's all we're gonna get from them.
I don't know.
Right. That's my point.
So it is what it is.
Yeah.
It's as good as this album gets.
I
would
disagree.
put it
I
on-
think the next track had to phone
I put them on the same level. They're both.
Yeah.
I have them both as a 3.5. Rate Your Music has It's Okay to 3.3 and Had to Phone You to 3.4. So they're neck and neck.
Yeah.
They're equivalent.
Had to phone you.
I like them
track 3.
both for Had to Phone You is track 3. I like them both for different reasons. That
It's
other one's
Okay is
kind of a
more of an
rocker.
earworm.
Yeah, right. And Had to Phone You is a little bit more like Friends style or whatever, a little bit laid back, whatever. It has that one weird part where it's just like, what is it? It's like, you. It just kind of goes on and on and on and on and on and on and on, and the song like picks back up after that. Remember that? Mm-hmm. It's weird.
Yeah.
But it's good. This is another Brian song with help from Diane, his sister-in-law, I guess. Mm-hmm. Or that's what that is, right?
Ravel, right?
Yeah.
So there's two bright spots, but it's like, if you don't get past rock and roll music, you'll never even know that there's a couple bright spots here. But they're there. And then, man, number 4 is Chapel of Love.
It's pretty bad.
It's another like, what's the point?
Yeah, it's like, this is cringy.
And it's
like,
another like
why?
straightforward.
Yeah, like, why are you
presentation
singing
of
this?
it.
Like, what is 1976? We've been through like Vietnam, and you're singing Chapel of Love? Like, what is going on?
Yeah.
I just don't. Yep.
Yeah.
That's what there is there. Is Chapel, isn't this...
Not a big one.
Yeah. Is that a Spectre?
Yeah. Spectre and Greenwich.
So that's
Kelly
it. That's the
Greenwich,
connection.
Jeff Barry, probably.
Yeah, Jeff Barry.
That's the connection.
Right.
Is that this is Brian obsessed with Phil Spector.
Yep.
And so he throws Chapel Love on
Yeah.
there. Again, this would have been fine if this was group therapy and this was him just kind of like, these are songs that I need to get through the day.
Yeah.
And if we could have like set that to the side and allow this to be a separate exercise, then it would have been fine.
Yeah. Like, just do a whole thing, make group therapy, and
Get
then
it
don't
out.
ever release it.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah.
100%.
Although the success of this, I guess, was good for Brian mentally, apparently.
Okay,
But
sure.
anyway, track 5 is
Who needs that?
track 5 is what, the second ever Mike Love solo contribution, I think.
Everyone's in love with you.
Everyone's in love with you. It's about the Maharishi.
Oh God.
I think it's okay. I mean, every original song on here is like, oh, okay, well, that's not so bad because it's original, Like, especially coming out of Chapel of Love, you just want to hear anything that's not another stupid old oldie. I don't know. I forget how this song goes, but I remember thinking it's like fine. Yeah.
Yeah, it's fine. I gave it a 3 on Rate Your Music, but now that I know that it's a totally Mike Love solo joint, I feel like I should bump it down a little. But,
We're such haters.
Oh, you didn't realize
I
that
love
before?
it. You didn't know that? Yeah, no, I knew.
So Talk to Me is, I guess that's a cover, but then it's also Tallahassee Lassie. It's like a medley. And it's really weird how they do it, because Talk to Me is in 6/8, and then the Tallahassee Lassie section is in 4/4, and the 8th note stays the same, but it's just a totally different meter, and it's very like jarring halfway through the song, and you almost can't follow what's happening, and then it switches back into Talk to Me again. So I don't know. I kind of like it when songs do that, but it's very confusing and out of place here.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
not good.
Yeah, it's a Carl vocal. I don't remember how it is. It's probably good. Yeah. So another small one. I don't know. So track 7 is called That Same Song, and this is part of that documentary that it's like the highlight of the documentary because like they show there's concert footage of them performing whole songs. There's a really awkward part where Brian and Carl and Dennis are at a piano singing "I'm Bugged at My Old Man," and Brian has got that bathrobe with no shirt on, and it's very awkward. But there's a performance of that same song in a church, like a Southern Baptist church, with a choir. And they're not performing for an audience. They're just performing for the cameras. It's just the guys around a piano, and Brian's there. And it's this cool arrangement. It's really good. And Brian's even having a good time, like bouncing up and down and stuff. Great part of that doc. I didn't really think very highly of this, hearing it here. But then watching that performance gave me a new appreciation for it. So I do like it.
Well, here in these recording sessions, Brian has laryngitis.
Well, allegedly.
Allegedly.
Yeah.
Or whatever. His
Yeah.
voice is
He just sucks
pretty
now.
trash. Yeah, it's like, it's pretty rough. And so, maybe that's
He's gonna find a way to make that rough voice work. It's just not
Right,
on
right.
this album.
Not
But yeah,
here.
so this is kind of a cheesy song about the history of music in general. But I enjoy it. It's not great, but I like it.
All right, TM song.
TM song. This is the one I was talking about, surprisingly written by Brian.
No, Mike wrote this.
No.
What?
Brian has the writing credit, and Al sings it.
I mean, I know that. I know that in my head, but this
okay.
feels like a Mike Love song. It's terrible.
does.
It's awful.
I don't mind it, actually. I think it's fine.
When we did our wilderness chat thing, you literally picked this song for the playlist.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Troll.
And this is an example of me thinking that it sounds like they're kind of having fun together.
Yeah.
At the beginning, there's
It's
that
got a little
fake
bit of a
argument.
Friends kind of.
They sound like real big, like Looney Tunes fans, and that sort of fake. There's some Bugs Bunny stuff going on. Like, yeah, stay out of it.
It feels like Sonny and
A little bit.
yeah.
It's a little bit audio verite, even in the song portion, because it kind of shifts gears and does like it's kind of disjointed. But I don't know, I like it.
It's not awful.
I think at this point it wouldn't be my pick, but I still consider it like a bright spot, I guess.
Yeah.
Like this whole side one for me actually probably has more good than bad overall.
Those, it's okay and Hadaphonia, I think, are legit pretty decent.
Yeah.
No, just had to phone you. Had to phone you is really the only thing like worth listening to on the side A.
According to Glenn.
Yeah. And it's only 1 minute and 43 seconds.
I
long.
think
213 according to
I do think, Glenn, if you're talking about in context, knowing who the Beach Boys are and what they're capable of, that is the one. But for me, it's almost like my expectations for them at this point are so low.
Okay.
And really doing this whole exercise of listening to all these albums has really recalibrated my taste for them.
Sure.
So any little nugget of like, ooh, it's not so bad. It
Yeah.
makes me like go, oh, maybe that's kind of actually good. So,
And I think I'm also I'm empathizing with poor Brian here.
Yeah.
And he's just in a lot of pain. And Eugene Landy is not helping.
Yeah.
And like Mike Love bickering at him, pushing him the album or the label, trying to like get him to put something out because they haven't put anything out in 3 years. It irks me, and it makes me sad.
Sure.
But there's still a whole other side.
there is, and we're almost at 49 minutes. So
Okay.
let's take a quick break and we'll be right back.
Yeah. Hi, we're doing side 2 of 15 big ones.
So far, we found 0 big ones.
Yeah, there were some medium ones. Whatever. This side is not as good as side 1, if you want to think of side 1 as good. Palisades Park, the first one, that's a cover. Whatever. Honestly, though, I will say the covers on side 2, I think, are better than some of the ones
Exactly.
Yes.
on
Yep.
side 1.
Agreed.
Yep.
Like, there's less original
Agreed.
stuff, less highlights overall, but surprisingly, the covers are good because they're like not necessarily straight ahead reproductions of the original.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Palisades Park is fine.
Yeah, it's fine.
Susie Cincinnati's fine.
I-
Like both
yeah.
of those are way, way better than rock and roll music and Chapel of
Susie
Love.
Cincinnati
Yes.
is an Al Jardine song.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's,
yeah.
I like
that's
Susie
right.
Cincinnati.
It's okay,
fine.
yeah. Casual Look, I think, is pretty good. Well,
Yeah, I wasn't big into that one. The
I mean,
Blueberry Hill
I'm not
one's pretty-
I'm not actually familiar with Casual Look, the original version, so maybe it's exactly like it. Blueberry Hill, I'm surprisingly into this
Okay.
version of it.
So same.
Yeah.
And I think it's less because of necessarily this version, and I think I just have a soft spot for this song in general.
yeah.
And I think just like hearing this song, I think maybe I divorce it from the whole Beach Boys lore.
Okay.
And I appreciate Blueberry Hill just as like straight up this song. And so I think I'm rushed back into my, childhood, like driving in the car, listening to oldies radio and listening to Blueberry Hill, whether it's this version or the original.
I like
don't mind
how
it.
stripped down, minimalistic it is at the beginning, and it's got that like saxophone intro, and then it's just like just a bass line and vocals for a minute, right? And then it comes in and it's all kind of slowed down. I don't know. I like it.
Yeah.
I like the arrangement. Back Home is the next one.
Actually, let's go back to Susie Cincinnati for just a minute, just because we passed over it really quick.
Yeah, we did.
Got it caught up in with all those covers, but I don't know. Just other thoughts on that one.
It's fine. It doesn't really stick with in my head.
I didn't really have much else to say about it. I was thinking maybe we might have gone. It's catchy.
Yeah.
It's
It
it's an Al
failed
joint,
as a
but again,
single,
Al is a Team Mike at this point.
Yeah.
So
fuck 'em.
yeah.
Back Home.
I like Back Home.
It's funny. I think it's funny.
I like
Wake Up
it.
Before the Roosters or what? I don't know. I don't even remember how it sounds. I just remember thinking it's funny and I like it.
I like Back Home.
Yeah.
I mean, I like Had to Phone You Better, but then Back Home, it's fine.
It's a Brian Wilson
Yeah.
song. He sings it too.
Yep. It's great.
It's a little goofy, but I like it. In the Still of the Night,
See,
I like Dennis's vocal on it.
Yeah. I guess maybe
don't
it's
really-
for me kind of like Blueberry Hill is for Glenn, perhaps. Although I mean, I like Blueberry Hill, the Fats Domino version. I really don't care that much for this one. But in the Still of the Night is one of those songs that I just like that song.
Yeah.
Right.
And yeah, Dennis does a fine job with it.
yeah.
Yeah.
And actually,
I'm on a doo-wop kick right now, I guess.
Yeah,
okay,
same.
there you go.
I've
Working
been
on a introduction playlist, but
I have a soft spot for doo-wop myself. Yeah.
there's some good stuff.
See, I think the last track, Just Once in My Life, is the best cover.
Yeah. Oh yeah. yeah.
I think that
easily.
that one, yes, it's a Spector song, it's a Carole King song, but I think that one, because I'm not as familiar with the original or either of the
I'm not
originals,
either.
Righteous Brothers did it,
Yeah.
Carole King did it.
Oh, hold on really quick. I know why I wanted to go back to Susie Cincinnati, and then I forgot, saying that I had nothing to say about it. Dragon Alert.
Oh, Daryl Dragon, right?
Double Dragon.
Double
Daryl
Dragon.
and Dennis Dragon are,
Oh, wow,
are both
okay.
on there. Yeah, I thought
okay.
we were done talking about those fuckers, but
No,
yeah.
okay.
Double Dragon.
Double Dragon.
Susie Cincinnati. Got to bring out the big guns there.
Sweet.
Fire breathing motherfuckers.
Just Once in My Life, though. Yeah, I was.
I like it. I like
was
all the
whistling
synth.
it.
I like all of the
It
like.
gets stuck in my head a little bit.
I like
yeah.
the Moog. Brian's playing a Moog bass on there.
cool.
I dig it. I like that song. It kind of even. Yeah.
Yeah, legitimately good. It's
interesting.
It's a
Yeah.
good version.
It's a
of that song.
grande. It's not a big one. It's a grande.
No, it's even Polysub. It's okay in Hadaphonia, but it's a worthwhile song.
These,
Yeah.
these two
I don't
sides.
skip it when it comes up.
Right.
Right.
It's weird how these two sides kind of the way this album is balanced, because you got side one, which has I think some decent originals and terrible covers, and side two, which has good covers and at least one pretty good original. But like both sides have pluses and minuses, but they're kind of like the same level of quality, I think, as each other.
Yeah.
But for different
Yeah,
reasons.
when I forget which one of you, I think it was Glenn, said that side two wasn't as good as.
It was me.
Oh, it was you.
Yeah.
You're
But now
the
I'm
son
thinking
of a
like, I don't know.
Yeah, I actually kind of like the second half of it more than the first half,
Right.
just because I think
There's
the
nothing
expectations
offensive.
had been set really,
Yeah.
in a way, like with rock and roll music, where it like takes a little while for it to like I don't know. For the covers to like Rock and Roll Music and Chapel of Love are both really pretty bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the covers kind of get sold to me in the second half, and I'm like, I start to become on board with the record.
Yeah.
I guess at a certain point.
I am offended by Rock and Roll Music and Chapel of Love.
Yeah, Rock and Roll Music is just so bad.
I'm offended by TM song and the Dauber voice, and it's okay.
Yeah.
There's nothing on side 2 that offends me.
Okay. There you go. Yeah, there's nothing like egregious on side 2, really.
But again, there are no big ones.
No,
And,
not at all.
Right.
And really,
Don't promise them if you can't
the
deliver 'em.
Olympic rings, really? I mean,
It's a gold medal album.
It's gold, Jerry. All of it.
There you go.
All right, we got to rate this fucker.
Yeah.
For some context, catalog crawl. There were 30 albums. It came in at number 25.
Really?
sounds about right.
Wait, is that okay? 25. 5 from the bottom.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Number 5 at the top. Yeah. 25.
I want to give it just straight down the middle of David Marks, I think.
We literally gave it a 5.0.
Okay.
Yep.
I want to give it a Wilson Phillips
Yeah.
2.0.
Yeah.
I'm giving it a Wilson
I can
Phillips
see it.
because of the
Just how low the lows are.
the Olympic rings.
Well,
You can't let that.
I mean-
Come on, Glenn.
No, I mean, you might be able to convince me that it's a David Marks, but I'm still so offended by the first half of this album.
I mean, those two
And
awful covers
again-
really do cost at some point.
and
yeah.
contextually, Brian is so low at this point. Like he
Yeah.
is in bed, and there's so much smarminess
Yeah.
from Eugene Landy, Mike Love trying to milk him that it makes it that
Literally.
much more egregious.
Yeah, I mean, the context is really rough on this one, but as a piece of music in a vacuum, it's not.
Okay,
It's
as a
not the
piece of
disaster that it has
Sure.
been portrayed as.
as a piece of music
Which is
in
literally what we wrote in the
a
catalog.
vacuum, sure, David Marks 2.5. But I cannot view this album without understanding because I can't go back. I can't unsee what I've seen.
There's a lot of baggage.
And there's a lot of baggage here, so I'm giving it a Wilson Phillips 2.0.
I can respect it. I don't agree with it. I try to just evaluate an album based on the album, but I can kind of understand how the context just makes it tough.
And even without the context, I can understand it being Wilson Phillips too.
Yeah, I know what we got. some rough waters ahead, boys. Rough waters ahead.
Oh.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's take one last break, unless you guys have any more final thoughts on these big ones.
End it.
Okay, we'll be right back. All right. Back to wrap up our conversation on 15 big ones. Well, hey, not big, but also not awful, I guess.
Yeah, it's some awful parts,
Yeah.
but yeah,
Overall, hey,
not too bad.
it might get worse.
Oh,
If Beach Boys albums were Olympic events, this would be trap shooting. Just like,
is that an Olympic event?
I think it is. I don't know.
It should. It ought to be.
All right. Well, hey, we'll be back next week. We got, I forget the order.
It's going to get better, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting stuff.
As
has happened.
they
Gotta get
say,
better than
it's going to
this.
get better before it gets worse.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I look, we've had conversations. If you want to get a little bit of a head start on what we think about what's coming up, then you can find our In the Wilderness feature, which we talked about, Beach Boys albums all the way up to Love You. Or you can take a look at that catalog crawl out there. But
Hey, but if you're playing along with us, go listen to Love You this week.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
come back next week and we'll talk about it
And
together.
hey, also remember what the name of this podcast is, people. We might have a little bit of an affinity for
Ooh,
what's
hey!
coming up here. Just putting that
Talking
out
down
there.
the highway.
away.
All right. Well,
That's
hey,
right.
we will catch you then.
Bye.
Later.